Hey, and welcome to Sam Reviews. Today I'm reviewing American Hero. American Hero is a mockumentary that follows the character Melvin, a average Joe kind of American guy running around partying, hanging out with his friend who's just so happens to be crippled in a wheelchair, who used to fight in the Vietnamese War. He also has telekinesis. This is interesting because it doesn't have him sort of walking out into being like a hero, like straight off the bat and like throwing his superpowers everywhere. He sort of uses his powers in a couple of the scenes in the movie to actually just sort of like gain a bit of money and sort of busk on the side of the street and sort of like a masked hero. I quite liked the style of the actual mockumentary. It wasn't too inclusive with the cameraman, but they did sort of turn to the camera every now and then. They would have the little interviews that happened. But the cameraman didn't feel like he was in the way of everything, but he was also feeling like he was catching things like he would be a cameraman. And it didn't have that annoying sort of found footage style of the camera flicking around everywhere and you can't actually see what's going on. It was quite nice and clean, and some of the shots looked like they could have easily been set up as if they were doing a documentary style if you were watching another documentary, but it was a mockumentary. I quite liked the development of Melvin. He was the main protagonist. He was going around sort of trying to deal with life, and he had to try and prove to his estranged son's mother that he was actually a good guy and could actually go around and be worthy of actually seeing his kid again. And the fact that he was sort of dealing with being a bit of an alcoholic and being into drugs and just sort of being a party animal and basically doing a bunch of stupid stuff because he could just do things. Like in the trailer scene, there's a bit where he's jumping off a building. I like the character development they had with Melvin, how he started off as a deadbeat kind of guy who seemed like he was trying but not trying hard enough. And as you sort of followed his story along, you sort of felt a little bit of his struggles, and then you actually saw him. You get to see his character development from being sort of struggling guy, and you can see it go through all the sort of ups and downs you would have a character thing. Try not to spoiling or anything like that, but he does have sort of a goodish kind of ending for him in a weird kind of way. I liked the way they used his telekinesis in this. It wasn't just sort of a flat out he could do everything with his mind and stuff, and they sort of showed this lack of control he'd have. Like there's a scene where he's sitting down in a chair and he's reading out from one of the books, and when he's finished reading the book he sort of throws the book aside, and then another one comes to him and he starts reading through that book, and as he's reading through this book, the first book comes over and he's like, go away, and he keeps going on reading along and then go away kind of thing. And it's kind of cool. It sort of shows a lack of discipline, showing that like the character, he doesn't have that much discipline, but he's sort of got this ability to use his mind powers. Going off that though, they did sort of bring in a few sort of things with it that they just sort of, he has to concentrate when he's doing something, but then every now and then he wouldn't be concentrating. Like the book thing, it just sort of happened, sort of lack of control. Another scene is they discover he needs to think a lot when he's doing things, and then in other moments he's just kind of sitting there and like lampposts are flying. He's just like, oh, okay, I can do that now. I found the powers that are inconsistent like that. I did find it took a while to actually get going. It was sort of introducing Melvin and all the people he hung out with. It just sort of dragged on a little bit too much, but that could be because it's a mockumentary style, and so it's sort of following the documentary setup of ways where you sort of get to see everything around the life of the person you're following around. And I don't watch a lot of documentaries, so that's probably why I felt it was a little too slow. Found some of the effects they had, they probably could have done the effect a lot better, or a lot of things could have been done better, but then I'm not guessing they had that big of a budget to begin with. It seemed like it was a smaller budget film, and it didn't get in the way too much. It felt like it complemented the story more, and it didn't sort of feel like it was like a $10 million movie that they're just throwing money at and then just kind of wasted the budget on a bunch of stuff. It complemented it and it didn't feel too bad. I did have a few times where I think that the entire cast forgot about the camera. Like there's a scene in the trailer, so this isn't too much of a spoiler, but he gets shot at by a bunch of gangsters, and he's sort of hiding behind a car, and he's like stopping all the bullets behind the car, and the gangsters don't even care about the cameraman. And it's sort of a moment like that where it's like, wouldn't the cameraman also be in danger because he's in this shootout and they're just kind of shooting? So there's a few suspensions of disbelief that would go on, but those things were really easily overlooked because there were just small scenes that would happen, and like bits of humour mixed in with serious overtones and stuff. It works quite well for a mockumentary, and I quite liked it. The story itself probably wasn't that original of a story, but the way they told it I quite liked, and I don't think I've seen a story that's being told in that way, so it worked pretty well. Overall, I give American Hero a thumbs up, and go on and watch it. It's actually pretty good of a movie to watch. There are a few sort of bits of coarse language and a bit of violence and stuff like that happen in it, but if you're okay with that sort of thing, this is a movie, is a pretty good watch. It's rewatchable, to be honest. I could watch it back again and probably see a few other things that I didn't see the last time, because I don't have to worry about certain things. So it's a thumbs up and a rewatchable thumbs up. Thumb up. Yeah. So it's a 1 thumbs up and a rewatch thumbs up. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Sam Reviews.